Hey everyone, Peter at Wine Salon here. I wanted to take the time to formally introduce our new resident chef here at Wine Salon. This is Chef Matsuo. Chef Matsuo, why don't you tell everyone a little bit about your cooking style?
私の基本は日本食なんですけど、イタリアン、フレンチレストランでも修行してきました。私が目指しているのは、それぞれの国のテクニックを使って美味しい料理を作る。もちろんワインと合う料理です。
Obviously, this is a really interesting time for us as cooks and for me to be introducing Matsuo. He just came on board with us about 2 weeks ago, and the world was in a much different situation than we're in today. And what was relevant then is a little bit different from what's relevant now. So we've had a lot of time to pause and reflect on what our role is here as cooks and as people who are passionate about hospitality and wine. So why don't you share with everyone a little bit what we've been thinking, talking, and reflecting about?
シェフは普通クリエイティブな料理を作るんですけど、今はこんな状況なので、私が今まで勉強してきた技術を皆さんと共有して、今手に入るもので美味しく作れる料理を紹介したいと思います。
Obviously, Chef Matsuo and I have had a lot of time to reflect, and what we feel like we as cooks can bring to you guys at home right now is not what's most ambitious or creative, but sharing the techniques we've learned with you to honestly help you make the best of what's readily available in most people's home pantry and what's truly available at the supermarkets today. So we hope you'll enjoy the cooking tips we share with you. Everyone stay safe during this time. Don't forget to take the time to make yourself some nice food and open a nice bottle of wine. Matsuo-san, what is the dish you will be making for us today?
今日は明太子スパゲッティを作ります。
Mentaiko spaghetti. Let's get to it. From left to right, you'll see that we need 8 ounces of bucatini pasta. Spaghetti or linguine would be a fine substitute. You're going to need 1/3 cup of milk, 2 to 3 dried red chilies, 5 to 6 whole cloves of garlic. From there, 1 relatively large 2-ounce piece of Mentaiko, which is Japanese for spicy cured cod roe, and you are also going to need 4 whole shiso leaves. The only thing not shown here that we forgot to add was that you will need an additional about 3 ounces or 1/3 of a cup of olive oil. So to start, you're going to see that Chef Matsuo is going to finely mince his curly parsley, and then he's going to move on to wrapping all of his shiso leaves together, almost into like a tight cigar, and doing what we call a chiffonade, which is just simply cutting across your rolled up cigar, creating fine, thin strips of shiso leaf. And while we're on the topic of shiso, I know from our experience when we went to the markets, it was really difficult to find fresh ingredients in your standard supermarkets. But if you're lucky enough, as I know a lot of our members and our customers are, to be located near an Asian supermarket, we went to Mitsuo and we found that they were relatively in stock, all of the fresh ingredients. We found curly parsley no problem, and fresh shiso was still very well stocked. Now I know not everyone has access to fresh shiso or Japanese supermarkets, so if you don't, Italian basil is a perfectly fine substitute. Just chiffonade it as Matsuo-san is doing here. Next up, you're going to take your Mentaiko, cut off one end, and use the back of a knife to gently push all of the eggs out of the membrane. Mentaiko is a cured cod roe. First off, it has a lot of perishability as compared to a lot of other fresh seafood, which is probably going to be really difficult to find at this time. Chef Matsuo told me that just as is, it will last in your fridge for up to 5 days and probably up to 2 months if frozen. The second thing that's great about Mentaiko is that it's relatively inexpensive. We were able to buy an entire pack of 3 of these big pieces for only $5. Very cheap compared to regular caviar. However, when used in the context of this recipe, when the Mentaiko emulsifies with the milk, the olive oil, the garlic, and the pasta water, you'll find that it has an amazingly luxurious taste that I really think does not lose out to real caviar. Next up, you're going to take all of the garlic cloves and just very lightly crush each clove with the back of your palm. After your garlic has been crushed, you're going to position a saute pan so that the pan is tilted upwards on a burner, and to that pan you are going to add 1/3 cup of olive oil. Add your lightly crushed garlic to the olive oil and turn the burner on to low heat. We're going to let the garlic infuse with this oil for a full 5 minutes. And as you can see to Matsuo-san's right hand side, we've already started boiling our water. That is 6 cups of water that we are going to add kosher salt to until the water is slightly salty. You don't want it to be salty like the ocean because Mentaiko is a salty element that we're going to be adding to the final dish. So there's no need to oversalt your water. And now as Chef Matsuo is just waiting for his garlic to infuse with his olive oil and for his pasta water to boil, may we here at Wine Salon very gently recommend that you have a glass of wine while you wait. For this dish, we recommend the 2018 Aki No Mori Chardonnay from Kanpai Wines. Cheers! And as you can see here, as the garlic is cooking, once the garlic becomes soft enough to poke with a chopstick, Matsuo-san continually pokes the garlic with the chopstick just so there will be more contact with the oil and more of the garlic flavor will infuse with your olive oil. After about 5 minutes, or once your garlic starts looking like a caramel hue, just like Matsuo-san is showing you here, we're going to turn our heat up to medium, and at which time we will add our 3 red chilies along with our parsley. You can see as soon as the parsley hits the pan, Matsuo-san vigorously moves all the elements around and turns the heat off right away. It only takes about a split second for the parsley flavor to infuse with your oil, and once the heat is off, you're going to add about 1/3 of a cup of the pasta water into that hot olive oil just to immediately stop any browning that might be occurring. Please be careful to not splash any hot oil or hot water over yourself, but you should be fine if you're doing this over a burner with the heat off. And now we're just gonna leave that off to the side, and it's good timing because as you can see, our water is now boiling and we're ready to start cooking our pasta. And now to the boiling water, you're just gonna cook your pasta as per your pasta's package instructions. For us, we like our pasta really al dente, so we went 1 minute less. So for example, if the package directions say 12 minutes, we did 11 minutes because there will be some residual cooking in the saute pan when we're bringing the entire pasta together. And as Chef Matsuo is waiting for that pasta to boil, now is a good time while you're waiting for you to enjoy another sip of our Chardonnay, and for me to mention that all 4 Kanpai wines from dropsofgodwinesalon.com, we will be donating 15% of all the proceeds to local food banks and healthcare workers during this quarter between March and June. Again, all the links to purchase the wine will be in the description box below. Once your pasta is about a minute away from being done cooking, you're going to turn the burner on which your oil is on onto high heat and bring the oil and pasta water mixture to a boil. Once your flavored oil is up to a boil, you are now ready to transfer the pasta from the pasta water to your oil mixture. Once your pasta is in the saute pan with the oil over high heat, you're going to vigorously stir, either with tongs or in Matsuo-san's case, with chopsticks. You're going to toss and stir until the olive oil starts to coat the pasta. You'll notice that the pasta starts to absorb the water in the oil, and once you see that point, you're going to add your milk into the mixture and continue repeating the process until the pasta absorbs the milk as well. Once the sauce really starts coming together, the final step is to add the Mentaiko or spicy cod roe into the mixture and continue stirring and tossing. Once the Mentaiko, milk, pasta water, and olive oil have all come together into a wonderfully rich and luscious, luxurious sauce that coats the pasta, we're ready to start plating. And plating for this is super simple. You're just going to take your pasta, lay it down on a plate together with some garlic cloves, some of the chili, and you're finally going to top it off with the shiso that you chiffonaded earlier. And finally, don't forget to pour yourself a nice chilled glass of 2018 Kanpai Wines Aki No Mori Chardonnay, which is our recommended pairing for this dish today. Yeah, someone else finally gets to cook for me instead of the other way around. This looks so good. I love Mentaiko pasta. Pasta al dente ですね。
アルデンテですね。結構アルデンテ。
That, I already know this is going to match with this wine. Yes! How long will Mentaiko last?
明太子は冷蔵庫だと10日間ぐらいで
Days?
冷凍庫だと2ヶ月ぐらい持つんで今の時期にいいかなと思って使った食材ですね
Yeah, obviously this wine is made from Japanese food, and so much of Japanese food is dependent on freshness. But Mentaiko is one of those ingredients where, like you said, it'll last 10 days fresh and up to 2 months in the fridge. So you can make this recipe over and over again whenever you're craving some seafood, which is usually tough to do because it always needs to be fresh. So, well, so there was one more reason why you chose Mentaiko, right? When you tasted this wine, you want to share that with us?
このワインを飲んだ時にすごい旨味とか酸味を感じたんですねでやっぱりそれが明太子の旨味にも合うしでちょっと魚臭いかなって思う人もいると思うんですけどこのシャルドネの酸味がそのちょっとした魚臭さを取り除いてくれてるんですごく合ってると思います、
If you're not a fan of white wine, you know, this series during this coronavirus lockdown, we're focusing on versatility. So I do think this dish, it has some richness. It's got, was it milk? Milk, Mentaiko, a lot of olive oil. So I think rosé could also be a really good match, as well as a lighter wine, like a Pinot Noir. I would hesitate a little bit, honestly, to say that I could go all the way up to a Cabernet Sauvignon. But the reason I'm sharing these 4 wines with you is because during this quarter, from March to June, we are doing a special promotion with these 4 Kanpai wines. The 2018 Hinotori Rosé Cabernet Sauvignon, 2018 Aki No Mori Chardonnay, 2018 Mizuno Uto Pinot Noir, and 2017 Hinotori Cabernet Sauvignon. 15% of all proceeds will be donated to healthcare workers and local food banks during this quarter. Again, that's from March to June. Our chief executive, Pomeranian, just decided to join us here. I'll tell the full story in some other time, but long story short, Kiki is basically the motif for the baby fox for this Kanpai Aki No Mori Chardonnay. So we do hope that you'll find time to make this recipe, and I tell everyone during these stressful times to slow down. Hopefully you'll find some time to make this dish, make yourself some good food, open a nice bottle of wine, and enjoy.
楽しんでください
Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. We have a lot more of content like this coming. If you're interested in joining the wine club, we are also running a joint promotion, 15% of all proceeds from people who join the wine club this quarter, again from March to June, 15% of that will be donated to healthcare workers and local food banks as well during this coronavirus pandemic. With that being said, shall we? Kanpai everyone!
乾杯
Stay safe!
気をつけてくださいね